Updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning air, Dan Prof. So in Kenosha, just north of the Cheddar Curtain there, Kenosha County, Wisconsin, you've heard of it. ICE is operating there too. Guess what they've been able to accomplish? Well, they just arrested 8 members or associates of a Mexican cartel, so the authorities say, that were in part of a thievery ring.
Arresting 8 people they say are connected to a Mexican cartel responsible for stealing thousands of dollars worth of clothing from stores like Lululemon, Nike, American Eagle, and Victoria's Secret. The sheriff's office sharing these photos of their loot from the apartment search.
During the search, investigators also found a U-Haul rental agreement, bringing them to this Kenosha storage center. In a particular unit, they found another 137 stolen items, totaling more than $16,000.
And in response to activities like that, this is what you get. See if you can guess whether this is Portland or Broadview. I bet you can't. Oh, there's the giveaway, isn't it? They seem nice, and real wordsmiths, too. F Trump, F ICE, F everything, ICE out of Portland, revoke their permit. Same thing they're trying to do in Broadview here. Well, first of all, it's the same lingo. Secondly, the same thing they're trying to do with the fence that you put up to protect the facility is you didn't get a permit for. The village is doing that to try to, I don't know, pander to those who are proponents of lawlessness. I mentioned earlier in the show, in Chicago, you had a individual that was identified as a Tren de Aragua terrorist member arrested as part of a raid at a suburban Home Depot parking lot. And ICE continues to post the individuals that have been arrested here as part of Operation Midway Blitz, which number north of 500, according to ICE. And we'll continue to tell those stories and bring that information to you to make your own decision. And as discussed a bit earlier in the program, in lieu of having an actual argument against removing people from this country here illegally who pose a public safety threat, in lieu of having an argument against that, this is what you get from Congress-humans in Chicagoland like Chuy Garcia.
They showed up downtown to indiscriminately continue to profile against people just because of what they look like.
For more on this, please be joined by Chris Clem, former HHS Advisor and retired Chief Border Patrol Agent. Chris, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning. And I tell you what, a lot of F-bombs, right? But there are a bunch of effing idiots out there that just don't want to understand the law and understand the facts that are surrounding every one of these events around the country regarding interior enforcement on criminal aliens and public safety threats. It's just mind-boggling. So it's all organized by the same groups. Listening to Chuy just there, I mean, just another word salad using big words. There's nothing indiscriminate about what they're doing. It's targeted, and they have a hard time.
Chris, did we lose Chris? Oh.
I got you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you were just you cut out after you said indiscriminate and what it really means.
Oh yeah. I just was kind of laughing listening to Chuy say his thing. Right. Everything they're doing up there is targeted and for a purpose. There's nothing indiscriminate about it. It's very, very targeted and selected.
We talked to Marcos Charles earlier in the week, who's one of the point people for enforcement and removal operations, and last week, I should say. And he was just saying about 50 to 60% of people are on our list, a target list of public safety threats or terrorist-related national security threats. And then others are people that we've come into contact with in pursuit of people on our list because, as Tom Homan has said from the beginning, because you're forcing us into the neighborhoods. And if we come in contact with other people in this country illegally, then we're going to remove them because that's our charge to enforce immigration law. Do you think it would help if ICE was more regularly communicating, posting like they were a little bit initially, DHS, that maybe this is their charge? It seems to me we could use more information flow coming from these agencies, profiling the individuals who have been taken into custody just to continue to provide that information to the public and substantiate these claims that are being made.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they need to up the game all around the country, especially going into and during operations like Midway Blitz. I don't know how much the public knows, but, Border Patrol, DHS, Coast Guard, they've been operating in Lake Michigan and in that area for 100 years. I mean, this is nothing new. What you're seeing now is a little bit different, right? The high profile operations up and down the river, the large amount of agents on the ground there. But you're exactly right. And Charles said it, and Tom Homan has said it, and I've said it on this show and other shows. 70%, I think, is the number that Tom has thrown out there of the people that have been arrested in all these interior operations already have criminal records. And the other 30% are people that already have gone through their due process. They just failed to remove themselves or be removed from the United States. Now, that number is probably more like 60 criminal records, 60%, 30%. Orders of removal. That gives that 10% of what you just talked about, the collateral, you're at the wrong place at the wrong time. We went to go serve a warrant of arrest at an apartment complex for a Tren de Aragua terrorist, and 5 other undocumented aliens were there. You're going to jail and going through removal proceedings under this administration. Under Biden, you would have been left alone. But here, it's a lot different, and I agree. We need to advertise it. People need to see not just the viral video that's on social media, but the actual criminal history behind these people, because there's so much that is left out by the left-wing narrative that's out there.
Of course, and that includes the efforts that are ongoing to recover people who are unaccompanied minors and disappeared into this country. I mean, the reporting last week, 400 arrests. Unfortunately, 27 of those unaccompanied minors found deceased. I mean, those stories, those individual stories need to be told. They just need to be flooding the zone with this as sort of information so people can really grasp just how to grasp the scale of the depravity here.
Yeah, well, look, we started out with 479,000 children entering the country illegally. We narrowed it down to about the 300,000 that were pretty much unaccounted for or missing. That's been narrowed down to the true number that we think that we were going after is around 125 to 130,000 that hadn't aged out. But they've already recovered, rescued and taking it back into government hands, 25,000 of those kids, and we're 8 months into this operation. So on top of securing the border, on top of going after all the public safety and criminal threats inside the interior, we've already knocked out a big chunk of the people that were the kids we're trying to find. So this administration on the immigration and border security function is firing on all cylinders. And you know what? Just having a governor and a mayor or several governors or several mayors getting up there and doing some talking points is not going to slow them down. Case in point, Midway Blitz.
Another aspect of this is the law that was passed in California, signed by Gavin Newsom to much fanfare, mostly self-congratulatory fanfare, but ICE agents not allowed to cover their faces and masks. Now, this has been U.S. attorneys have intervened and told ICE to ignore that because of the supremacy of federal law. It's a meaningless virtue signaling piece of legislation, but that's not really the point. The point is again, here we go, the narrative with respect to ICE. They're covering their faces. They're in their plain clothes, they're in unmarked cars. This is all sort of, Pinochet death squad business. That I mean, as absurd as that is, that needs a response, because you have hysterics screaming it on the street in profane terms, but then quote unquote legitimate outlets like the New York Times essentially insinuating the same.
Yeah, well, I think we've talked about that. I mean, the mask thing, I think is something that has gotten to a point now that they have to wear them because it's gotten so dangerous. We've seen the shootings at the ICE facilities. They're just trying to protect their families and protect their well-being. So many of these HSI, Homeland Security investigations, which fall under ICE, are special agents. They don't have uniforms. Their uniform is whatever the circumstance, whether it's suit and tie for court or for office work, or it's plain clothes because they're out there doing undercover investigations. So there's a reason for that. Plus, with all the things that we've learned through BLM riots and Border Patrol going around the country to do operations, we know we're going to get Molotov cocktails, all these things thrown at us. So they've got the balaclavas, they're ready to go. Then they put their gas mask on. I'm not saying that I wish we weren't here, but we are, and that's why they're doing it. And you're right. The California law that Newsom passed, he knows he has no authority to dictate the operations and the uniform policies of federal agents. But it made good news for him and his radical base to say, look, we're pushing back. There's nothing they can do to stop that, and that's an operational issue that the federal law allows. So I wish we weren't there. Don't get me wrong. I wish we weren't there. But to protect these undercover agents and special agents that are out there, they got to do what they got to do, knowing that they're going to be attacked. And one last thing on that: every agent, officer that's assigned to these operations, we know who they are. Their supervisors know who they are. The records are there. So if there's a problem and someone has needs to file complaints or whatever, narrow it down. They're going to figure out who was in the area, and they'll have their due process if there's a complaint to be made. But they're going to go out there and do their job, regardless of how they look. It's about officer safety and protecting their families.
Well, and the other way to imprint that on the body politic is to prosecute people who dox them. 3 women, one from Aurora, Colorado, the other 2 from California, were charged with 1 count of conspiracy and 1 count of publicly disclosing the personal information of a federal agent in an indictment that was unsealed on Friday, doxing ICE agents. That's what they were doing.
Yeah, well, that's good, right? I mean, that's one thing. I got to tell you, Pam Bondi is somebody I know, and she has put notice onto all the U.S. attorneys across all 50 states and all districts that they're not going to turn a blind eye to this. And that's the one way you get law and order back, by holding people accountable. And you should not be publicly doxing and conspiring to dox people that are out there doing their job. It's not just because you don't like it. We're not, and I've said this a bunch of times, we're not here to enforce your feelings. We're here to enforce the law and to execute the laws that have been passed by Congress. And, if they don't like them, pass new laws.
Speaking of the ICE shooting at the Dallas facility last week, one of the issues that was raised again was these ICE tracking apps, some of which have been downloaded in the hundreds of thousands. And I don't think they rise to the level of illegality in terms of tracking officers on public streets, which is essentially what they're doing, and in public and during their enforcement operations. But it certainly is, the used by malign interests to track them and potentially try to disrupt what they're doing. What's your view? What's the ICE view on those tracking apps?
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is, I agree with you. It probably doesn't rise to the level of illegality, and you want clear and transparency from your government, but the theme behind it, the reason behind it, the chat associated with it is targeting and disrupting and borderline overthrowing government operations is what they're trying to do. And that, I think, goes beyond First Amendment rights and borderline illegality. So while there's probably nothing we can do about it, I mean, I don't know this, and I have now since from the government, but anytime you put an app on your phone, it's trackable. So good luck denying you have anything to do with it if your face and you end up getting arrested and they look at have a warrant to look in your phone and they see your tracking app, that's going to look really good in front of a jury that you were, you were just there protesting. Oh, really? You were tracking ICE and we've got you on video. So again, I agree with you. I don't think it's anything illegal about the app, but I think what you do with it and how you respond to ICE, you could be going from a peaceful protest to borderline criminal activity. So again, that's just the narrative behind all these people that are just anti what this administration does. And again, it's not even anti-ICE, it's just anti-Trump, because these operations went on for every president, since for 30 years I've been associated with this United States government operations. It's just these people hate Trump.
And the this high-profile case, I mean, I got to get your comment on this. Just incredible. The school superintendent for the Des Moines public school system in this country illegally for the better part of 2 decades. And I mean, it's a commentary on so many topics: schools and school boards, their due diligence, their vetting, the immigration law, immigration enforcement, not fleeing when law enforcement encounters you with a gun and a knife in tow, especially if you're a school official, maybe not exactly setting the best example for the kiddies there. I mean, just that story, it seems to me, just speaks volumes about how messed up immigration enforcement in this country is.
Yeah, you're right. I was just in Des Moines last week. I mean, I literally flew out and passed through Chicago on my way to Indiana. Been in Iowa a couple times, going back later next month. But I kind of laugh because this is the epitome of the broken system and why enforcement must be done. You have somebody that came over here on a visa, illegally overstayed for a better part of 20 years, had a deportation order from May of last year because of gun charges. This is exactly the problem. Not only do we have the problem that came in through the border, but we have the ones that came in illegally because the system is so overwhelmed. They can't find these people slip through the cracks. And then you have, I think, Des Moines school said that we were going to waive criminal records. There's a lot of stuff that's falling out of this thing. But this is a classic example of you've got to cooperate and vet with immigration system. You had an illegal alien running the schools for the Des Moines school district. That is I mean, it's a head scratcher. But I hope there's embarrassment for everybody associated with that, and I hope it's a call to kind of an awakening to say, hey, we got to do a better job because our kids deserve better. Our parents who support these kids and getting them to schools and showing up and supporting our teachers deserve better than an illegal alien with a criminal record running the district. That is just unbelievable. It's laughable if it wasn't so scary.
Chris Clem, former HHS Advisor, retired Chief Border Patrol Agent. Chris, thank you as always.
You got it. Thank you.
And he joins us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Salem News Channel is America's fastest growing conservative TV network.
It's an absolute crazy day.
Home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere. Delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Xumo Play.
Hello, my name is Dr. Michael Huber, co-developer of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Did you know that the 23 natural ingredients in Virago are not only an immune enhancer, but also support and protect your heart, lungs, brain, and kidneys? These organs are negatively affected by numerous diseases such as diabetes,